And again, we've got a randomisation order for this. So could I ask to come to the stage Andrea, Noel, Michael, Peter, Tom and Rosemary. Yeah, so you'll sit and then I can... Yeah. So, just before we start this session, there is a bucket going round. Obviously this venue doesn't come free, and a winning campaign definitely doesn't come free, so please give as generously as you possibly can. But try and put the money in very quietly while people are speaking. So I'm going to ask Andrea to come up first. Thank you.
Hi everybody. Right, okay, I want to get to the heart of the matter. I've got a list basically to finish my talk, and this is a list of statistics that really gets to the heart of the matter. 42,000 homeless families living in London, 25,000 the average cost of renting a 2-bedroom house in London, £400,000 the average price of a 1-bed flat in London, 15% the general level of social housing in new developments across London, a 40% rise in housing costs over the last 4 years, a 37% increase in London's homelessness numbers over the last year. We're talking over 700 rough sleepers. That's 27% of the national average in terms of the national figure. 16% of the country's population of 13 to 18-year-olds are in London alone. 41% of London's children are eligible for free school meals, and 40% are below average in targets. We've got to look at the hard numbers. We are one critical mass for a mass campaign on all these issues, and we need to go out there to win it.
No Lynch. I'm not a Londoner born, but I am a Londoner by adoption and choice. It's the greatest city in the world, and I love it. And London's people. I haven't just spoken to the homeless, I've been homeless in the not too distant past. I haven't just spoken to small businesses, I am one. We talk about immigrants, I am one. We talk about BME, I'm a representative of 900,000 Irish in London, which are facing more and more anti-Irish discrimination. There's a continuous attack on the trade unions, I am one. As an Assembly member, I stood up for the unions, particularly the FBU. I also founded the Green Party Trade Union Group. I encouraged and helped Francis Mortimer to found the Young Greens. I also found the Green Seniors. This demographic is now 46% of the voters of London. Don't underestimate us older ones. We grew up in the revolutionary 60s, and many of us still believe in the ideals of 1968, etc. With age comes tenacity and experience and perseverance. Most of all, I've been an Assembly member, the greatest job of all. Thank you.
Let's be certain things are going to get worse now there's a Tory government without the little bit of Lib Dem sanity. It's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse in London, because we're not going to solve the housing problem, we're not going to solve the low pay, we're not going to solve the transport problem. But the Tories do know what they're doing. They're just dishonest. It's not about austerity, paying off debt, it's a total lie. If you want to know more about it, please go to my website, Radical Soapbox, and it looks at what neoliberalism actually is. It's a form of fascism. That's what we've got. And taking away the power of the trade unions now, that is another part of turning the screw to give us a fascist state. And that's what we're heading towards. And people have got to be aware of this. Now, I am standing for the simple reason that I believe that I can add something which lots of people that have done lots of good work for the Green Party over the years on this committee, that position, that other position, have not been able to achieve because they don't come from the same background as Noel in a way. I was part of the 60s and I left the country disgusted at what we ended up with. In fact, when I look back now, it was wonderful. So give me number one. Thank you.
Peter Underwood. As I said earlier, I believe in representative democracy and the fact that we should be representing the people of London. We shouldn't be appearing as politicians. We shouldn't be looking like the other parties. We're different. We're the Green Party. And I'm very proud to be part of a wide selection of candidates that representing many different areas of the people of London. Myself, I'm one of the few, I think, that actually comes from the fringes of London, the Tory fringes. I understand what people there care about. They're my neighbours. But the key thing that I found talking to them is the fact that we've got the Green Party policies are what's good for London. And what's good for London is good for everybody. It isn't just about individual communities, it's about the whole of London. I'm very proud to be a Green Party member, and I'm very proud to be part of this list of good candidates we've got here today. And if you select me high on the list, I'll work like mad in the Assembly to make us all proud to be Green Londoners. Thank you very much.
Thanks. So I'm Tom Chance. I'm a fan of participatory democracy and of cooperatives. And I don't think as the Green Party we want to be promising people to solve all their problems. What I absolutely love in the time I've been involved with the Green Party is being able to talk to people about how we can work together to solve their problems, and probably my problems at the same time. When I was evicted when I first moved to London, there was nobody there that I felt could work with me. I wanted as an Assembly member for the Greens to be there to work with people to do those things. So my idea on housing is not just to solve the problem from on high, but to be working with local people to be able to develop housing cooperatives to take over the estate, the regeneration of their estate, so they can take control of the future of their homes. And we can do that as Assembly members as well. And I don't see why we need to wait for the mayor to do these things. As an Assembly member, I'd like to get these things going. Why don't we go around training people around London in local parties to provide effectively a housing co-op for London, to provide people with the practical support to be able to take control. The same on transport. We can be going around training people up to be more engaged in making their streets more cycle and bus friendly instead of being choked by cars. That's my vision for the Assembly. Thank you very much.
Rosemary Warrington. I think it's very much not only what we do and what our vision is as the Green Party, but it's how we do it. That it is fair, it's inclusive, it's accountable, and it's transparent. And that's something that I deliver. And you can see that if you go to the members' website, you can look at the documents that I produce, that I put there, and reporting on everything that the London Green Party does that's accountable to all of you. And I'm also active in all kinds of things that we do. I was trained by the Newham Monitoring Project in being a legal observer on demos of what the police can actually do. I recommend that everyone gets that kind of legal training. When I stood in Ilford South, I attended lots of hustings, including one in a mosque. I thought that was actually the best husting. And that we need to move out of our comfort zones, and that's my minute. But I think that's the last thing. We need to move out of our comfort zones, but how we do things is hugely important as well as what we do, and that's what I deliver. Please put me high on the list.
Caroline, Jonathan, Rashid, Shah and Sean will join us on stage now.
Okay, John, I'm ready to start now. The next 4 years of politics in London is going to be shaped by our campaign. It's a chance for us to reach out to Londoners across the capital in ways that we may not yet have imagined. Now, our Assembly campaign, it's not just about what the Green Party can do for London, it's also about what our campaign can do for the Green Party. We've got to learn from community campaigning. We've got to organise, involve new and old members, we've got to work with even more communities, and we need to connect the work of London Assembly members with that of our local parties. This has got to be about maximising our presence on the Assembly, putting a Green Mayor in City Hall, we can do it, leaving local parties primed and ready to elect Green councillors in 2018. In the end, there is no they to fix this stuff. We are the Green Party and we need to act together for Londoners, and I hope London Greens are going to select me for #1 on the Assembly list to play my part in making this happen. Thank you.
Jonathan Bartley. It's time for a new generation of Green leadership in London. I'm concerned, like Caroline, that we've perhaps taken it for granted that we'll get 2 or 3 London Assembly members. All of us made you an offer today, but we must now go and give London a clear offer. And for every Londoner that wants radical change, another wants security. For every person who wants more equal pay, there's another that wants a safer neighbourhood. Our offer needs to be broad and it needs to be taken to every London borough. The general election, we slipped back from our high point in 2012 and we finished 5th in London. This is a make or break moment for the Green Party. I believe the Green Party has come of age, but we won't achieve our ambitions by running the same campaigns of the past. I want to lead the Greens to City Hall, take our ambition to all 32 boroughs, so we can seize this moment together now and for the next 10 years in London. Thank you.
Mr. Timekeeper, 1 minute starting from now. Okay, I'm Rashid Nix, and very quickly. I said earlier that 38% of Londoners voted in the last mayor elections. 62% of Londoners who were eligible to vote didn't vote. So the question is that who speaks for those people? What are their concerns and what's their future? Because their future is London's future. And for us as Greens, we need to understand that we're all linked together. We're all in this together. Rather than chasing that ever decreasing electorate, let's look at why people aren't engaged and let's engage them and let's deal with the real issues what Londoners are really faced with. Because their future, like I said, is our future. In the scriptures it says, where the people lack vision, the people perish. And right now our young people are the ones that are facing a very bleak future. So for us, as Greens, we need to be bold, audacious, outspoken, upfront, and dare I say, heroic in how we take on board this political battle which we're going to face. Londoners don't have 5 years. Whatever happens has to happen now. Rashid Nix, #1 on your list. Thank you.
I'd really like to stand and hear it. That's good. Now, there's a reason for that, actually, yes. So, I often say, and I've been in the party for, 13 years, I often say that politics is a vocation, not a career. So don't be fooled by the suit and tie, obviously. But it's very important for us, because you don't just go into green politics to get elected, or to get elected quick. It's not just in our head or our heart, it's in our blood. It's something that you cannot but do. Somebody was asking earlier, do you wake up in the morning wanting to change the world? Of course we do. And this is our opportunity to do that. But I want you to understand, because one of the things I mentioned which hasn't been spoken about is accountability. I've served on liaison committees, sometimes as a chair. I know what it would be like on the other side to be accountable to you. If I'm too high up there, I want you to bring me down, literally, and say, Shara, that isn't the green way. And I will tell you why I think it is, and I want us to have a conversation about it. So politics, it's in our blood. Politics is something that we do. The infrastructure, Greens have a difficulty with any kind of institution like that. And that's the self-knowledge that we need, that I will have when I'm in there, that I will understand that politics, getting into office, is not an end in itself. It's a means